It's that time again for EverQuest's Next Into the Portal. Your hosts for this evening are...
What?
The fact that...
Hello, everybody.
Smecko back.
And I forgot to turn my mic on.
Isn't that
every
a band?
week?
Good job.
Here we are. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
It works. Okay, good.
Now, were you muted when you did the introduction?
I did.
just now?
Yeah, I always do that. So, welcome to Into the Portal in EverQuest Next Discussion. I cut the thing off because we don't have Locke. We only have Trendane, and Tobran's on the lit thing, so... Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's myself, Geekdomo. We have Trendane right there, and Tobran, and then we have a loyal viewer, Mr. Legendary Neurotoxin's going to join us tonight, who's over there.
How's it going, everybody?
That way.
With a fantastic hat.
He has a magnificent hat. Can you tell us what your hat is, Mr. Legendary Neurotoxin?
Yep, this one is the Nagafan hat. I got it at SOE Live this year for yelling DCUO, but much louder than that for the folks at the DCUO panel.
Awesome. And who is Nagafin?
That big old dragon fella.
He's the one I wanted as my boyfriend.
Hmm.
But he wouldn't have me. And people kept killing him all the time. It was so terrible for me. I apologize.
He's very verklempt over this whole deal. All right, so yeah, we're all wearing hoodie hats tonight except Tobran, who has a hair hat.
Hold on a sec. Hold on.
Now, he's going to get himself a hat. Well, he's getting himself a hat, so I want to say welcome everybody to EverQuest Next Into the Portal and EverQuest Next Discussion, sponsored by EQ Nexus, www.eqnexus.com. So, this is great. He's got a husky hat.
Oh, God.
This'll do.
He looks like he has Shadow of the Wolf on his head.
It's a very snobby husky. That's why he's got his head just...
Tip his nose down a little bit there.
I don't think I can. Hold on.
Do the whole show with your head tipped way down like that. It looks awesome.
I can barely see, but it'll work fine.
This works great. Okay,
Yeah,
I don't know why it's Silly Hat Night tonight. So thanks everybody for joining us on our post-Thanksgiving fest, which for Tobran means nothing, but for the rest of us, we just got through eating a bunch of turkey, and we're all kind of fat, dumb, and happy.
I didn't have turkey.
You didn't have any turkey?
No.
Well, what happened? Chicken?
I had steak.
Steak. An excellent alternative to turkey.
I went to Black Angus last night.
I had latkes last night.
Would you have latkes?
Yeah.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Tater pancakes?
Yep. Some sour cream. Yep.
Taters. All right, so what we're going to talk about is just some stuff from last week and some new things that are going on. Nothing majorly exciting coming out. Anybody have any great epic news that they know about EverQuest Next? Let me go ahead.
Just the PC Gamer article.
Yeah, that's pretty big. Let me pop up the title here. Where is it?
Mine.
Oh, you actually have?
Yeah.
Mine.
I read the article online, but I didn't actually see it yet. There's the first top. Here we go. So, updates from last week. Okay, so let's talk about the PC Gamer article. You have it actually there. Can you show up pictures while we're
Yeah, sure.
talking about it? So, they announced, 4 new classes? The 4 classes are definitely
3.
confirmed?
We had already heard of one before, but they just kind of confirmed the other one.
All right, so we got Cleric, which is your typical Cleric. And we have my favorite class of all time for EverQuest, the Necromancer.
Don't know if that's the right place to hold it, is it?
It is. It's really blurry, though. Okay, and then Beast Lord, which is new to me. It sounds like Beast Master. And then the Tempest, which we saw being shown at SOE Live. They showed the Tempest. So, Necros are awesome. Oh, yeah, by the way, everybody in the audience, if you want to ask a question, put it just like Cyril did there. It's a question in brackets of some kind. And Meka, our moderator, is going to be here grabbing the questions up and sticking them in the chat for later. So we're going to do a Q&A session here in just a short little bit.
And given the fact that Omid is on a boat right now, if you want to send him Vine pictures or things try to make him seasick, that would be awesome.
Omid can't be on here because he's on a boat. He's on an Emma effing boat.
Yeah. He's on a boat.
Yes.
Actually, if we wanted to make him sick, we should have just got him the complimentary free drinks card, so he could just drink to his heart's content. Well,
I used to work for Sony, and when I don't know if it's a Sony function he's doing, but Sony is not, restricted at all with their thoughts about killing all their employees with liver disease. Every event I ever went to for
Not
Sony
all of
had
them,
an
but just
open
some of them,
bar.
you know.
It was all open. They never charged us for a single drink, and you could just drink Long Island iced teas till you passed out dead.
well, the first test at SOE is to survive with, making sure you don't have dog allergies, because man, they've got a lot of dogs there.
At SOE? SOE?
Yeah, they've got quite a bit. Like the Planet Side 2 team, especially, they had a lot of dogs coming through the office during the crunch time.
Good companies do that. I speak, of course, of good companies and not shitty companies.
We won't pick on EA tonight, not at all.
Oh, yes, we will.
No, because there's actual EA employees still in the audience right now.
Yeah, I know that.
And we can't pick on EA. That'd just be so bad.
But that's only partially true. EA Canada gets to bring their dogs. It's just those of us who were there at headquarters, we don't. So.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, so Tobran was nice enough to show the whole book, but I couldn't read a single thing. It was just
No, probably can't.
Maybe you should get your glasses checked. It's a
no,
brilliant
it's just
article.
it's fuzzy. Couldn't read
Like
it.
I said.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the classes that we do know about. We have the cleric, which is your standard heal and smack him with the mace.
Well, they're heal smack them with a mace and burn them with fire, with righteous,
Indignation.
glorious fire.
Mm-hmm. And then, so they're obviously a healing class. Now the cool part is apparently you'll be able to play all of these classes, or to some extent take pieces from the cleric. Like you could take their righteous fire and use it with something else in another class. Like you could take another class and be like a necro with righteous fire, which seems totally weird, and I don't know how this is all going to work. But yeah, the necro class, the other class, I'm curious to see what that's all about, because in the original EverQuest, it was just awesome running around with like a skeleton chasing around. I mean, like a Harryhausen kind of skelly. And I'd like to see that back. I did play a couple of other games that had necromancer classes, but they were always sort of like these bastardizations of what a necromancer was. It really wasn't. Like Guild Wars 2, for example, had a necromancer class, but the creatures in that were more like these slimy pus bags.
Yeah.
They seemed more like demons than...
Yeah. Than undead.
They did say in the article that the minions and pets and stuff will get more powerful as the character levels up that class, or as the character gets more powerful. So I'm not sure what that exactly translates to. If there's going to be, once again, if it's going to be a fully finite, level blank necromancer, and your bet is exactly based on that, or if it's something that you have to work into, like you're, hacking off parts of tougher and tougher creatures and slapping them on your crazy undead abomination.
That would be neat.
I'd love to have a modular undead thing.
That would be cool, especially if you had like your own. Like you started out with your normal skelly, and that was like your standard pet. But then you had your abomination, like you say, where you just like, okay, I like this guy's head. We'll stick that on the body, and then I like this guy's right arm because it was very powerful and had spikes coming out of his wrist. And then this guy, he had his really big legs. We'll put these on. Yeah, like a Frankenstein necro, I think, that'd be cool. Somebody also said in the chat real quick, Layden said, well, there are no dedicated healers or tanks at EQN. I'm assuming clerics won't play the same way that we're used to. I know there's no dedicated healers and tanks, but you're still going to have some of those abilities. You're still going to be able to heal people. Right? I mean, they have not confirmed that there are no healing spells or no taunting spells at all in this game.
I think it's more that it's widespread that every class has different types of heals and stuff. Some of them might be more self-heals, like warriors that heal after they've, gone in some berserk rage and killed enough things. Necromancer might be more of like a life drain kind of thing, that they drain from the enemies and heal their party. what was it, the Beast Lord or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they got more of an herbalism kind of angle that their character works with, or otherwise, I don't know, some sort of healing slugs they put on you or something.
Yeah, Malice says there are heals and taunts, but probably nothing huge, big like CH and stuff. CH.
I think that's crowd heals.
Oh, crowd heal. Oh, yeah,
I
yeah.
think I could be wrong. Complete heal.
Or you could be right. Oh, complete heal. Yeah,
Or
yeah.
I could be wrong. I was wrong. Sounds about right.
There's actually not much lag tonight. People are replying quicker than usual.
Much
Is it
better.
Don't jinx it.
All right. So the we talked about the Necromancer, talked about the Cleric. What about the Beast Lord? That one's kind of neat and new. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I don't want it to be modeled after Mark Singer.
Not in like a leather thong outfit with his pecs all hanging out.
Well, when you put it that way. No, not as he is now. No, when he was a Beastmaster is fine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, no, not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen him lately. Did he hit with a truck or something?
No, the truck of old age, you know. So it's kind of like when you get a tattoo of barbed wire and 30 years later it looks like a picket fence because everything's all saggy and everything. Now for the Beast, what was it? Beast Lord?
Beast Lord, yeah.
Beast Lord.
Might be able to have like a shield and something.
Flail.
Shield and flail,
So
and then a spear.
It's probably a heavy pet class, of course.
Yeah.
So maybe the shield is kind of keep you protected while your pet is gnawing the legs
Doing the
off or something?
damage.
Yeah.
Kind of like a reverse hunter in WoW. Have the
Honestly-
damage and you tank it.
Without range. Go ahead.
That
Yeah.
arsenal sounds perfect for a rider. Shield and flail to go in, whack things in the head with that flail. That makes sense. Also, on the back of some big creature using a spear. That too makes sense. Those are both definitely ways I could see. So, if that's the angle they're going, is that it's going to be more of a beast rider kind of thing, I'm totally awesome for that one.
That'd be pretty cool.
I like the idea of your pet helping to immobilize, well, not necessarily completely immobilize, but help reduce something's momentum. Just grab onto it and tug and reduce its mobility and whatnot, as well as doing damage. That's kind of cool. But I like the idea of kind of the reverse hunter thing from WoW, where you're the one doing most of the damage and your pet is assisting. I like that idea.
Yeah, because it's not ranged weapons, so that would be awesome. It's a great idea, like having, what do they call it there? The large lizards, the Komodo dragons. They bite something, and 5 or 6 days later, it succumbs to the bite, and it dies. Maybe it's something more of a faster poison that can cripple them, and you run in with your sword and start slashing at its head. Hello? It wasn't me. Swear to God.
No, it's here.
Oh, it's your house.
It's the front. Somebody's knocking on the front door, and I've got messages coming in all over. I really should mute these things. I'll do that now.
Trendane's messages are coming from Omid, by the way. He's
It
taunting.
is actually. It is from Omid.
He's taunting Trendane for some reason from the other side.
He knows it's been years since I've been on a boat.
On a motorboat.
He
Trendane.
says he's listening.
Oh, good. Well, Omid, while you're listening, you remember that while you're taunting Trendane, that you did promise to get him a job being a voice actor at Sony.
No. He said I would have to do all the voices in EverQuest Next.
What's wrong with that?
I can't do that many voices. It's going to sound like Oblivion.
That's what filters are for.
Yeah, burn. Okay.
South Park only has, 5 or 6 people? They have a lot of diversity of voices.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Trey and Matt are really good, actually.
Which is not to say-
Trendane's great too, but we'll get him a job over there. All right, so that's pretty much it for that. Let's go on to our next topic.
Oh, that was from Pentapod. She's listening.
Pentapod and Omid are
awesome.
listening, but they're writing to Trendane. That's so weird. Well, hi guys, thanks for listening and not joining in the chat and stuff. Oh no, Pentapod's here.
I do have a bit of news, actually. Pentapod tweeted out earlier this week something that sounded like the inklings of a giant Omid statue made of ice in the desert. Now, it hasn't been confirmed, but...
We talked about it on one of our shows that we were thinking of building something like that to him as an honor to the Omid god.
And I think it might be underway.
Oh,
Just
actually, they're going to build it?
Closed doors.
That would be fantastic.
Oh, God.
It would be such an inside joke if they did that, because pretty much only people that watch this show would get the joke of why there's a
It's
statue.
made out of solid gold, though.
Solid gold would be good, too. Go ahead,
It
Trendy.
needs to be a slightly posable statue, so we can put it like this, and then we get a bunch of people with bows and arrows to stand around it, so we can redo the shot from
that
him,
one
from
shot.
his,
Oh,
the
do I have
cartoon
that
he was in.
shot in the cartoon? I don't think I do.
That would be awesome. But I was going to say, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie K9 with James Belushi.
Yes, I did a long time ago.
There's a scene where he's at the party at the very beginning, and he's like, harassing, Derek Lyman, I think is the guy's name, and he's talking about the ice sculpture, and he's like, "Is that supposed to be you, Lyman? Is that you? Because that seems kind of self-centered. Is that you? No, that's Zeus." And then he shoots it, and it shatters, and I'm like, "Let's do that."
The Omid statue. Oh, Penapod just confirmed. This is confirmed. Jeff Butler is making an awesome dragon sculpture, but I don't think anybody's made an Omid statue yet. Well,
so I think we need to make Omid into a dragon then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think dragons are really, 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 really good looking.
That'd be cool.
Should we punish them so by making Omid one of them?
Yeah, right. Omid statue needs to be smaller. It needs smaller Geekdomo and Trendy statues bowing down to it.
Oh,
no.
I don't think so.
No. We aren't going to go there. I love you, Omid. You're like a brother from another mother.
Loves you, Omid. Sorry, carrying on.
Carrying on. Okay, so new roundtable response and question. So the new roundtable response was about lore. Yes. Did you guys get a chance to watch the video?
I did, but I can barely remember it.
Okay, basically they were saying that there's different people like different types of lore. Some people don't want to bother with it. They just want to skip through the quest text. Just give me what do I need to do? Oh, kill these guys? Fine. And they just want to do that. Well, other people want to watch it, scroll by slowly, and hear the whole story. So, does anybody remember what their response was to what they thought would be the best way to do it in EverQuest Next, Landmark?
One of the things that they said was that they found that most people said they like a variety, not just cutscenes and not just this, that a mix of everything would seem to be kind of the lion's share of what people liked.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I think is probably best anyway, to do kind of a mix. Tobran?
I'm really still fond of the cutscene idea. The art style they've gone with could totally really work really well quite here, because they said the whole idea of having like the cartoonized way of doing it. If you watch a Disney film, you can see the facial expressions going quite far away. Bring that into a cutscene, it'll look amazing.
Well, that too, and because this is already built in with SO Emote, for them to make the cutscenes would probably be very easy to do.
Easy, exactly.
Because they literally could just voice act it out and have the voice actor's face be recognized and put into the character, so it could be sort of cut together pretty quickly. Although, I mean, how many cutscenes do you really want? SWTOR was really, really packed with cutscenes, almost to the point where you're just like, another one? Yeah. Every time you did a mission, it's like, okay, another one. So they can get a bit out of hand themselves, too.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 13 was cutscene heavy. It actually made the game kind of comical because they'd be having these big revelations, but you just basically run across one end of zone to the other. So that part was a little silly. So it was a little bit kind of overkill because each cutscene kind of became more and more meaningless relative to just the general volume of them. So, it is nice to have cutscenes, but have them be relevant. Like if you and your party stumble across some instance content or whatever for the first time, then, or contest it or whatever it be, or it's not instance necessarily, but it'll only exist that one time. Having a cutscene with that's great, especially if it's an exclusive cutscene that maybe only the first few people that enter, or if you're the people that enter before it resets and the doors are closed again, we'll get to see. So it's like really this epic monumental thing that only a few people get to see. Now, the one counter to that, though, is that people would say it'd be a lot of work to be making these giant scripted events just to introduce a zone that's only going to be there for a couple of days. But my response to that is these aren't very difficult things to script. These are probably canned scripts or ones that they can design and package up and just apply wherever they need to. So you might see that same canned gate opening animation and like sweeping shot but you're only going to see it maybe a few times in your career because you're only going to come across the things a few times.
Maybe give you the option to skip it. I mean, if I know a cutscene's coming up and it's something I'm interested in, I will want to watch it. But if I don't, I want to be able to skip out of it, but maybe get the gist of what it was. Like maybe at the very end of the cutscene, they have just a small summary. This guy was talking about this dragon that needs to be slayed, and then that's kind of just like a little gist. So you can go, okay, I'm in a big hurry here, and I guess I just want to finish this quest up, and this cutscene is taking forever.
I'm reminded a bit of some of the kind of micro cutscenes between worlds and whatnot in things like Ratchet and Clank and Sly Cooper, which those were not sandbox at all, but still there was enough lore wrapped into it that it made it entertaining to watch. So,
yeah, and somebody in the audience just said Grand Theft Auto is a good one with having a good amount of cutscenes compared to the action, and it is a sandbox, so you can sort of, in any order that you go in, it's sort of random, and then you can still stay with the main storyline. So, all right. Okay, so then the new question, this is a strange one. What large race are you most thankful for? And so, what did you guys pick?
I remember. I think I picked ogres.
Okay.
Is it on there? If I remember.
I didn't vote.
No.
I have all the respect for Dexella and everyone on the EQ1 and Landmark team, but this one was just like a total fluff softball question that has no bearing or meaning or anything. It's just there to give people something to talk about that doesn't really need that much attention on it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I personally think it should have been, what size should froglocks be? Small, medium, or large?
Giant froglocks. I actually picked Troll because that was my first character that I was a guide on, which was a troll. And I loved when you run with a troll, how they had those little stubby legs and they waddled when they ran. It was like the cutest thing to watch them run. What were you going to say, Trendan? It looks like you had something to say about it.
Dragons.
You picked dragons.
I picked dragons. It may not have been on the list, but that's what I would pick.
There be dragons.
So that's interesting. They had ice giants and fire giants on there.
But they were sort of mushed together into one, weren't they?
Unusual, yeah. It's just such an unusual pick.
Yeah.
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 See,
well.
because some people might like ice giants, but just hate those fire giants.
And when the two get together, they get the steam giants.
That's a big old mess.
Mm-hmm. It's wet, steamy.
And then you get an earth giant in there too, and there's like this boiling mud giant.
Yeah, you get the boiling mud giant. Could be bad. Yeah.
But you could start a day spa like that.
There we go. Yeah, day spa giant. Okay, so that was pretty much it. So we come into our main topic for tonight, which will be the concept art video. So let me line this up here a little better. Sorry. I'm going to go ahead and play it while we talk about it. Yay. Warning, content may contain inappropriate for children. I don't know why. Is it phallic or something?
No,
right.
But it's just a blanket thing.
Yeah, I know. They put it in there as a blanket one. So what they're showing us...
kind of phallic, actually.
It is a little bit. What they're showing us here is the concept drawing being converted from a concept drawing into an actual art piece, which is pretty cool. It didn't actually tell us exactly how long it took to make this.
Probably not too long.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it.
Maybe an hour, maybe two.
Maybe an hour or two to put it together. I love how...
Go ahead.
I was just say I love how that there are no trees or anything around it. Just like a mountainous region somewhere in Scotland where Tobran lives. He lives up on that hill on to the left there, next to the sheep.
Yeah, cheers.
And they turn it from this like sort of highlands area into a forest really quickly.
Yeah, it's that's really showing kind of the level of detail as it takes, X amount of time to get the main kind of infrastructure and the fine detail on it, and then it takes just a snapshot of a moment to put in all the trees, the river, and the little water wheel there.
Mm-hmm.
With no water.
I'm gonna rewind it back here. So Penapod just says it's supposed to be no more than a half a day's task. I'm not sure the exact time he took.
Mm.
I mean, it's not like Dustende says, yeah, but there are forests in the middle of nowhere. It could be a wet enough region to have foresty growth. Depends on what's going on around it.
I like that in the bottom center, right at the bottom edge, you can see the plants moving.
Yeah.
So clearly the wind is blowing while they're doing this. I think that's very, very cool because there is actual weather going on while this is.
That was a question we had last week. People were like, if there's going to be wind, which way is it blowing from? And I'm like, I don't know.
Well, if we're going to have wind, that would actually, require a weather system, which, isn't outside the capabilities of the game engine. And I know they eventually want to get that in PlanetSide 2. So, I don't know, maybe they'll do it in PlanetSide 2 first. And after it's finished with that tech test, it'll make it into Ekion and Landmark.
The cool part about this, though, sorry. Wrong one. I hit the wrong button. Sorry. Oh, my gosh. What is... It's that time again for EverQuest. Sorry, my XSplit is just completely flaked out there. Anyway, the water. The only thing I didn't see there was water. I'd like to have seen the water turning the water wheel.
Well, they did say they haven't got water working yet. So
yeah, I guess that's probably why. Yeah, technical difficulty. Sorry.
Needs to be. They're trying to get a water union going, and it's
the Union of Watersmiths. They're just not cooperating, and they're like a local 227-65976, and they're just not working out with the Teamsters at all.
All the fluid voxels are being used in various buckets for bucket testing, so we're not going to be able to see water until they're finished in the bucket phase.
Exactly.
Well, they're bringing all the water in is the problem.
Right, the whole union thing with the sheep.
The sheep.
Mm-hmm.
What?
They take the sheep and they attach them to the buckets and then drag the buckets in.
See, it's interesting to me that you say that they attach the sheep to the buckets, not they attach the buckets to the sheep. Mm-hmm. We see which one is the primary in this particular.
Yes, it's the water. What's the water union? 22657965437.
So, with this concept art video,
back to the topic.
Yeah, back to this topic at hand. What do you think would you be more inclined to take a piece of fantasy concept art and try to replicate it, or do you think you'd be more inclined to take photos from like your own life or from the real world or whatever and try to replicate that?
It's a good question.
That's why I asked it.
I would be inclined to want to take something that's already been done and replicate it. Like I've talked about before, I really want to do the Shire. I mean, I think that would be fantastic to replicate Bilbo's house. And
how do you get like bigger races to go in?
You don't.
Like a fire
giant. I don't want them. I don't want them in my whole house.
They have to open the door and then dive head first and kind of crawl like it's a tunnel.
Yeah.
The
igniting everything along the way.
The thing that I want to see is outside the realm of fantasy. They talk about sci-fi and all this other stuff, but we haven't seen any tests of it. I talked about this sort of thing, like getting the old PlanetSide 1 bases and some PlanetSide 2 bases and building that up in Landmark. And Luperis is actually on board to help me out with that, so I'm kind of stoked about that. But I'd really love to see them try to do something more, futuristic, sci-fi, techie looking to go with that Tech Commander gear.
Yeah, I think the most futuristic thing we've seen so far is that Tech Golem thing.
I didn't see. Oh, the Tech Golem. I haven't seen that, but the let's see if I have any pictures here of the Tech Sergeant's gear from the Nobles pack
and the mech that they built.
Oh yeah, but that honestly that looked like fantasy stuff stuck together to look like a mech. It really wasn't. It really wasn't that.
Maybe they just don't have maybe they're just so invested in getting all the fantasy stuff working they haven't actually properly worked on the sci-fi stuff.
That's my opinion. I think basically this is a fantasy game. They're going to allow you to make stuff that's sort of like sci-fi, but it's not the main crux. So the textures and the artwork that has to go with that is not high priority right now.
It cannot be good for her spine to stand like that.
Yeah, it's sort of like the Night Elf, the way they stand with their arms, their arch back so their boobs stick out farther forward is pretty much...
Well, that's not what I was talking about, but okay.
No, it's true. That's why they do it. I mean, who would stand with your arms behind you like that? It looks like it would hurt. But anywho...
Neurotoxin, were you saying something there?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, Ladian, I think that's how it's pronounced in chat, says, looks like PlanetSide 2 to me, sort of. And actually, yeah, when I first saw those first shots at SOE Live of the that kind of rocky, deserty kind of area, that's basically Indar on PlanetSide 2, just with some arches and some rocks and other things that don't exist in PlanetSide 2. So yeah, there's very much a lot of the look and aesthetic of I guess this current iteration of the Forgelight engine, that it's going to look like PlanetSide 2 because that was the main game that was built with it so far, and so there's a lot of kind of assets and resources based on PlanetSide 2 that they're still working with.
Yeah, I mean, this is the PlanetSide 2 engine other than the voxel farm part.
And the voxels, of course, make it a completely different beast, because imagine PlanetSide 2 with destructible terrain. There wouldn't be that much left at this point.
It would be a leveled, flat field with lots of craters in it. That's all it would be. It'd be cool, though. Dostende says, I'm a lady, but I just cannot say it in my head without thinking like the guys from Little Britain. I'm a lady! I suppose any of you watched that show.
The show is awesome.
It's a great show.
It is.
All right. So anybody have anything else to talk about with the concept art video?
Nope.
All right. We are moving on to Q&A time. Q&A time. All right. So, Tobran, you want to read us a question? Or Trendy, would you like to do it?
We only have 4.
Only have 4 questions. It's going to be a short show tonight.
Very short.
It's a holiday. You know. Locke is off right now. If everyone's wondering where Locke is tonight, he's not quit the show. He had to have liposuction of his lips. And we're not sure why.
Well, liposuction of his lips, then he was going to get collagen injected into his earlobes.
That's right.
To make them just like gigantic. Horrific.
Oh, that's right. That's all for his plan to become more of a cartoon character.
Yes.
Yes.
And a lizard. All right, so let's go through these 4 questions.
Who's reading the questions?
I don't know. That's
Tobran, you do it. Go ahead.
Okay. There we go.
Kran Rabastan asks, are beards and or hats becoming mandatory for this show? Also, Toroban's hat is cute.
Tobran.
So,
Yours.
Yes.
That's the spirit of the wolf. It's the spirit of the wolf hat.
Because there's so many wolves in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
They eat all the sheep. I watch Torchwood. They get wolves.
Okay. So are hats and or beards mandatory?
No, it just so happens that Legendary Neurotoxin has the biggest beard of all so far.
Jeez.
It's required for the upper right panel to have a beard and a hat.
Okay, next question. Dostende asks, Geekdomo, what did you do at Sony?
Oh, I could talk about this for an hour, but I won't.
Oh, okay. All right. Fine. You guys
Everyone
want to
sit
go?
back.
Make the show longer?
It was totally not exciting or fun. I worked in the retail sales department, the division of Sony. Never got to talk with the SOE guys at all, and I wanted to because I was a big EverQuest player at the time, and I really wanted to meet them and be like, hey, can I get into the next beta? This was years and years. This is a long time ago. So anyway, what I did was I worked in retail sales, and I'd go around to all of the stores and teach the people how to use the Sony products, the salesmen on the floor like Circuit City, Best Buy, and everything. And we all know what happened to those stores. So my division was eventually phased out. But it was a great job. They gave me a company car, flew me all over the frickin' place. Went to Disney World and went to CES like 4 times, and it was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Yep.
Sounds
So that's
nice.
pretty much what I did. I worked in the retail side of Sony. All about the TVs and electronics.
Okay, Cairo L asks, clerics, no healing mentioned but protection of fire. Are we looking at very limited healing?
I thought healing was actually confirmed. I can't remember. I'd read the article a little while ago, but I thought it
not
actually
a
said
dedicated
healing
healer,
was...
right? not like one class could be dedicated healer, but because you can pick and choose your spells from different classes, I think you could probably put together a full-time, full-blooded healer with like crowd healing, single heals. That could probably happen.
Yeah, but that just kind of enforces the Trinity, though, doesn't it, if that happens?
People might just fall back. I'm just thinking, if players are left to their own devices, they might fall back to the Trinity anyway. Like, it just might happen as a natural, sort of organic thing that just sort of evolves into everyone's back to playing the Trinity again.
I mean, unless there's actually systems built in where they'll constantly retarget people. It's like, oh, this person has generated a low threat for a period of time. I'm just going to go after them because they're a weakling. And so all of a sudden your healer that was just on the sidelines is getting targeted by everybody. So I could see that sort of stuff, that everybody is, kind of responsible for their own healing, kind of responsible for their own crowd. I kind of think of it almost like, football, like, not necessarily a fair 11 on 11, but you've definitely got people, trying to block other people. You've got some people that are trying to, go forward and do more damage, and other people that are, maybe trying to counter them. So everybody's going to kind of be a little bit responsible for some of their own, self-maintenance and stuff. I can't really think of a game that has too much of that, doesn't still rely on the Trinity for the ultimate, like, who's actually healing and doing the damage and stuff. So, that'd be an interesting thing to see, is if they have the alternate system. I mean, they were saying actually that one of the plans for like a boss AI is that it's not just going to stand there and wail on one person, but it'll run around and pick different targets and stuff.
Whoever's pissing it off at the most of the time.
Pissing it off, or once again, it could just be oh, that person's just a bystander. I'm just going to whack them and run away because I want to get away.
They're healing. I'm going to eat them first. Yeah.
Or whatever their motivation is, or maybe they want to just try to smash that person's armor. So some repair person has to go be occupied repairing their armor.
They could like the flavor of Dark Elf.
Hold still, I'm trying to tape your armor back together.
Dark Elf.
Dark meat.
Do you like it filleted, or how do you usually like your Dark Elf?
Smoked.
Smoked Dark Elf. Let's not go there.
Hence the hat.
Okay. Next question. Dylan75 asks, I've never heard any details on the world heals back to normal. SU said it will in time, but nothing more than that. If every player is allowed to run amok and dig up the ground, then the game world, especially around busy places, could get messed up really quickly. I imagine open pits, like in Minecraft, down to other tiers. Any info on how the world will be created to go back to normal?
I don't have any hard info, but I've heard they're saying that high traffic areas or major cities or capitals or whatever are pretty impervious to every kind of thing like that. It's just basically an area around there. You won't be able to dig any holes or anything like that. And maybe the main roads that they have built are pretty much going to be set up that way, but maybe 200 or 300 yards off the road you can start digging, and then it really wouldn't matter.
Once you've gone far enough that you can dig and access materials, you're also fair game for creatures. And if you've got a pickaxe and you're banging away on a piece of ore, well, that's kind of loud. Things can hear that from far away. So you might just be getting beaten down by orcs within a matter of minutes when you go out to your nice little mining spot.
Exactly.
So then the orcs show up. They're like, "What are you doing?" And you're like, "I'm trying to dig a gigantic lava moat around this city so that none of those stupid humans can get out." And then they're all like, "We'll help."
We'll help.
Okay, good.
400 of them will dig in this big pit.
Then you change factions and you work with the orcs.
Yeah, Sword said ground heals pretty quickly. Last thing Dave said was about 5 minutes for land to heal currently. Yeah, and then it's all going to be subject to change after testing. They're going to basically see how destructive players are to normal good stuff, like the stuff that you want to leave alone, like the cities and the towns and areas that you can sell things and stuff. If the people could dig holes underneath your merchants, that would get really, really bad.
So you mean we can't make a tunnel through the middle of Firot that goes to the very tippy top?
No.
Oh, I guess I'll have to build the tower next to it that has a bridge going across then.
I just want to dig a hole straight out of Nariak just so I can get out. Just straight out. Because you all know my trouble with getting out of that city. Okay. Oh, hey, Bard's Tale Delight. How you doing? Thanks for coming. All right. What's the next question? Yeah.
Same person again asks, unlockable races and classes sound like they might be in the game from one of the videos a month or two back. What did y'all think about that concept?
Unlockables.
Yeah, I don't mind classes so much, but races, you know, if you see a race there that you really want to play, and you know that's what's going to be your main, you don't want to play something else, you just want to go straight to that race.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm against that, but totally unlocking classes, totally all for that. Because, you know, if you can swap between classes, that's fine.
Unlocking classes definitely makes sense, and I think that's pretty much the plan, but as for races, the way it sounds is that you're going to pretty much be able to have access to all of them. I don't know if there's going to be any exclusive races or maybe like variations on a race that you get, like, you know, two different, you know, nationalities or whatever of that race, and then the third one you have to pay to access, or however it's going to work. If there's, I don't think they're going to do the good, neutral, evil. Again, I'm pretty sure they confirmed that one's gone. So
mainly because the Combine Accord is sort of all mushed together anyway, so there's no real reason for the old hatreds to still be there. Although it's going to be sounding kind of strange being a Dark Elf, just being able to walk into the human area just without getting murdered right off the bat.
Yeah, but that's, you know, that I guess I didn't have the same kind of background with EQ 1 and 2, so I'm not gonna feel the same way. It's like, oh yeah, we're all hanging out, we're all homies here, it's all good.
It's all good. What do you think there, Trendane?
What? Like a rabbit in the headlights, just like, what do I do?
I saw you were going to say something a minute ago, and then you didn't look like you had a chance. So
no, I kind of covered it. I was agreeing with everybody else as they were basically saying the same thing, and I was like, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
That's the one thing that I think is going to be so funny is finally meeting EQ1, EQ2, EQ Next in the Aetherneer. It's like, why are you guys calling them evil? Why are you guys like letting yourselves be labeled that way? Here in this universe, we don't have any of that sort of beef.
Yeah, we're all just like one love, man. It's all like a big hippie universe. It's just awesome.
Here, have a flower. Would you like to make a donation?
Yeah. All right. Next.
Ashfix33 asks, do you think we can claim ocean property and build a giant pirate ship? Yes. Because I want to see a pirate ship.
I think you'd be able to build a pirate ship. I don't know if you have to claim the land around the pirate ship, including the water. I don't know.
It depends how big claims are, though.
Yeah, and then are you going to have to build them on a dry dock and then launch them?
That'd be
awesome. Can you build them into the water itself?
I was going to say, I don't really think you... Well, depending on how, you know, hardcore the physics are, you throw the first beam and boom, crap.
You have to build 1,000 beams to build up all these beams in the water.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the,
I'd rather just conjure a boat golem.
It's like Swamp Castle from Holy Grail. The physics are a little flaky, and that's one thing that's kind of got me trying to figure out what's going to happen, because right now you can sort of build out into the space in the air. What I'm seeing from these other things, it doesn't have to be attached to the ground to make it actually attached to the ground. So if you're building a boat, you could build it literally in the air above the water. And then what is the trigger that makes it fall? Like, I haven't seen anything about that, and that's something they're probably going to work on as far as tools go, so that it...
You're going to right-click on it and check the Enable Gravity box.
Oh, there you go. Trendane, right here, confirmed by Trendane, Gravity box.
Well, it's either that or it's when you actually go out of crafting mode and allow everything to kind of bake itself into the world and render and stuff, that once it actually becomes a real object instead of just something that you're throwing dirt in a virtual space that, you know, maybe people can or can't see, that physics will then automatically take hold and it falls, and then it, you know, ruptures upon falling because the water is solid, because voxels.
Just voxels.
Yeah, right. in PlanetSide 2 and PlanetSide 1 as well, it's nanites in EQ and it's voxels.
And you find out that you didn't like line up all the beams correctly, and water voxels start seeping.
That would be awesome, actually. No! It falls over, it sinks into the swamp, and then you build the next one on top of it. It falls down, falls over, sinks into the swamp. And finally, the last one being the strongest, because it can't fall over anymore. All right, what's next there, Tobran?
Metatron asked, do you think there'll be room for a full support class similar to the Bard? Some damage, but mostly support.
I'd love a support class. I'd like to have them sing their songs and stuff like that. Bard that can buff up everybody.
As long as they have an easier time learning their songs than Locke does.
Yes.
We're there for like 20 minutes. I was like, how hard is it? And then it goes to my class trainer, and then
it only works until the orc captain goes rah, 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 which actually translates to, hey, that's the support guy. Archers, everybody, target him. He's helping them. And then your support guy gets popped. And then your healers have to go try to get him back up, and then your whole party just gets its ass kicked. Yeah. I don't know. A support class would be really nice to have, and I'd like to see it really coming in more dynamic ways, not just like a hang back and area support or like a direct party support kind of thing, but someone that's more like, as they score more blows consecutively or get crits, they kind of instill confidence in people nearby, or stuff like that.
Throw down a banner of some kind. Yeah, that kind of stuff. That'd be good too.
10-hit combo.
Yeah.
combo breaker.
Jada is in the audience, was saying very new to EverQuest 1 and 2 and wants to know what the heck is going on. To be quite honest with you, Jada, there really is no reason to even look up anything to do with EverQuest 1 or 2 prior to playing this game, unless you just want a little bit of nostalgia, because they're starting over everything from scratch. The lore has had a total complete reboot, but using some of the same names and terms, just interspersed differently than was in the original game. So I have a video if you wanted to watch it. It's the complete lore in 10 minutes or less. It's really only about 8 minutes of me talking about the actual lore, and you could watch that video and it would catch you up to speed on everything, except I totally mispronounced Ixar. Yes. And what's the other one? Oh, Sishar. I mispronounced that. I mispronounced pretty much every name in the game. So if you can deal with that, the video's got some benefit to somebody. So you can check that out. All right.
Okay. Shadowspawn 2112 asks, do you see SOE manipulating the economies of EQN or letting players determine the value of nearly everything?
I would hope it's a completely dynamic economy. I mean, I really want to
supply and demand.
Supply and demand. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
If they hardcore set the price, then I mean they're going to have to for some things, like if you're going to buy string to make your clothing, the string probably is always going to have a set price because that's going to be a consumable that's not necessarily made by people. And they have to do that in some regards, because otherwise, if the market were to where you could make the string, and your string could be sold for more than the string from the vendor, then the vendor wouldn't obviously sell the string anymore, or vice versa, you could actually buy string from the vendor really cheaply and turn around and resell it to somebody else at a higher price. So
I bought a Mastercraft string.
Mm-hmm. And so that could screw up the economy too.
The thing that makes me think of here, though, is cross-server stuff, especially if they're going to allow server transfers, and then even with that, if they're going to allow people to transfer with their items intact from one server to the next, because that could allow somebody who's got plenty of chronos or station cash or whatever to completely wreck or take over one of the economies of one of the servers by kind of jumping around and grabbing up things and then flooding the markets and doing some real sleazy business kind of stuff. So I don't know necessarily what they're going to be able to do to curtail that sort of stuff, or what players are even going to be able to do in that context, and how far players will be able to actually go spending money out of pocket to kind of corner the market on one of the servers. But then the other thing it makes me think of, it's an unfortunate fact that 0% of game companies to get all of the illegal gold sales out. What do you guys think about the idea of SOE actually selling just straight currency for station cash instead of allowing a black market to start to form?
Guild Wars 2 did that, and the exchange rate is just terrible. Just gonna put it out there.
It started out pretty good.
It started out good, and then the exchange rate just went down and down, and it just went really bad. And Gold Farmers, I'm pretty sure, are probably making more money now. So
right,
as long as they can keep a way to keep it under control, that's fine.
But I do applaud the fact of them doing that, because honestly, I would rather Sony got the money than some guy overseas in some area where, they farm this stuff day in, day out. I'd rather see Sony get the money, to be quite honest with you. It's their game. And all this money's going into another country's economy is just ridiculous. All right.
Next question.
Yeah.
All right, next question.
All right. Okay. Asphex33 asks, when will we see the What is Landmark video?
Oh, I don't know. That's
We don't know.
Dave Jorgensen's not here tonight. I asked him to come, but he told me no, and then he put a restraining order on me.
Did you turn up at his door again? We told you not to do that. Come on.
Yeah, soon in quotation marks. We don't know. He said this was 6 or 7 days ago he was making one. Come on, guys! Like I make a video, I release it the same day. Come on.
He said a day or two ago that it was kind of a ghost town in the office. He's one of the few people there, so
Yeah,
at least he's working on it. He's working through the holidays potentially to try to make this happen. So
It's just because everybody's off on Omid's pleasure yacht.
right.
Sure.
But-
Yeah.
Dave Jorgensen's a druid, so he doesn't celebrate Thanksgiving. That's why he was in the office.
Why wouldn't a druid celebrate Thanksgiving?
I don't know. I don't think he's really a druid.
he is
Your
it.
whole argument is falling apart.
It is, yeah. I don't know. All right, next question. We don't know what day it's coming out.
Okay, Dalen75 asked, I've been watching videos on what some people believe is the reason for the big loss of players with Guild Wars 2, and some of the thoughts are that there is no Trinity. Everyone goes in and is confused as to what role they should be playing in dungeons, and there's little cooperation since everyone just seems to go DPS in the end. Thoughts that this will be a problem without any Trinity in EverQuest next.
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
gonna agree here.
Yes, I don't know. Legendary, do you have a thought on this? I'll pass it over to you in just a second, but my personal opinion is Guild Wars 2 has other issues that are well beyond what the having a Trinity. So I'm not saying that that's the whole reason for why they're having their problems, but Trinity does help a lot of people because that's kind of how it's been all along. Like you go back to the days of Dungeons and Dragons, you had the Trinity back then, so the original type of role-playing games always had this sort of Trinity built into it. There's other systems that have come out like White Wolf that didn't necessarily have a tank class or anything like that, but for pen and paper players, the Trinity is kind of where it all started.
I could see it being a bit of a problem with transitioning from Guild Wars 1 to Guild Wars 2 and people maybe not necessarily being ready for it, partially because it seemed like with Guild Wars 1 everything was very formulaic. Like, I'm not going to say necessarily DPS was king, but there were a lot of things where you had to do certain things and you had to have certain counters ready, otherwise you weren't going to win the match with against the other team. So players kind of maybe coming in with that expectation, I could see being a part of it. But another aspect to it is the way it's actually presented might also be a problem. The way it's being presented with EverQuest Next and Landmark is that it's just part of the role-playing experience. It isn't necessarily the means to this competitive end. It's just, part of the game that you choose kind of what you like to do or what you do well, and you can pick skills that supplement that, or pick skills that try to be more supportive of other people, and try to make up for some of the other deficiencies in a group. And also it depends if you're playing solo or with a group, and if it's a small group or a large group, it's a dedicated group, you've got scheduled raid nights, or if it's just slap together a team of whoever's on and just pick somebody that's going to be mostly responsible for the healing. But at the end of the day, I think everybody's going to have some amount of responsibility for their own healing, crowd control, buffs, debuffs, all that sort of stuff. And it's just going to be it's one of those things where maybe there isn't necessarily a wrong answer with how you build your character and how your team builds everything. It's just you might find gaps in your capabilities and things that hinder coordination instead of promoting it. Like, if I've got an attack that knocks enemies away and everybody else has attacks that are great for group area and containment, then I'm screwing everybody else up when I swing my giant hammer and play froglock baseball. So that's that. There's definitely that sort of stuff, and I think that sort of fine tuning. I don't know when and where you're actually going to be allowed to change up your skills. If it's going to be like on the fly out of combat, or if it's going to be, you have to be at the inn with your tome of skills or whatever, and it takes 5 minutes to switch skills or something like that. But however it's going to work out, I think it'll work a lot better in EverQuest Next, because it's not a means to a competitive end. You're not looking at world versus world or guild versus guild as the end game. You're looking at exploring and taking down dragons and stuff like that as the end game. Mm-hmm. And I'm not necessarily familiar with the loot system in Guild Wars 2, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say that EQ Next is going to have a way more diverse loot system with the quality and variety and the build up and scale of loot over time. So that might be another factor, is that if people find that their skills aren't quite getting the job done, that they need to look at changing up their equipment or changing up the enchantments and enhancements they have to further promote what's going to work best for them. And then that might even be specific to one area or one encounter, that it might just be one dragon that everybody's taking a month to try to take down, and nobody does it until one group finally finds you need 100 people and they all need this one specific skill and like 2 of these specific potions or whatever, that you need like a month's worth of preparation to make them or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was a long answer.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, so there is no right or wrong. I think we are going to have to find out and see it. And remember this, we're going to be starting off playing EverQuest Next Landmark, and things that aren't working, they totally can fix before EverQuest Next comes out. They've actually been very specific to say that EverQuest Next Landmark is pretty much the beta for EverQuest Next, and you're going to be testing things out here. You're going to be able to party with other people. You'll be able to group. You'll be able to attack monsters and also build, of course. But as far as what can be carried over into the into Next, it's going to be good. It's going to be open game. All right. What's the next question?
Okay, this is a follow-up question from Shadowspawn2112. If you know you can make string from a plant or animal product, then why not have it that as a player's set price material component? Yes, for the absolute base item cannot be made by a player that can be have a set price, but say making a loaf of bread requires items that can be all player made. Why not set the NPC prices based on the going rates of the components that can be made by players plus the set percentage for a vendor profit?
They're going to need a real economics person in here.
Yeah.
I mean,
every video game does.
Yeah, they do, because a lot of this stuff is so variable, and there's just so many different elements. You need to be a mathematician first off, then you have to be somebody who's good at economics to set up the economy, because the economy is no joke. If and the economy is bad, it can ruin the entire game. People just will refuse to play it if things are so overpriced they can't buy them, or if you're not getting enough money to live, so they got to balance it that way. It was really funny, Tobran, is every time you read the question, you put your head down to read it, and you're like,
the hat.
Yeah, the hat is like looking at the camera, talking. All right, so next one.
That was it.
That was it.
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect. Exactly 1 hour.
Woo.
Done.
All right.
Awesome. All right, so I wanted to thank Legendary Neurotoxin for being here tonight, because not only was he here filling in for Mr. Locke, but he went out and bought a webcam because I told him he could not do it.
Yeah,
did it quickly too.
I had to get a webcam. Actually, I went to one store, got it for a gougey price. Went to another store, it actually had Black Friday sale prices, and then I went back to the first one and returned it. And then that only took an hour or so.
Oh, thank you so much for doing all that.
Yeah,
it's a very nice camera, and we could see your hat very nicely.
Yeah, it's one of the ones from Logitech that does 720 live and I think 1080 recording. So it's a pretty substantial camera. It should be good for SOE mode.
Yeah, exactly. It'll definitely do.
Yeah. So when I go, it'll be reflected on the character.
So Legendary, do you have a YouTube channel or?
I don't really. That's something that's kind of in the works right now. There's When I do, I'll let you know, and I'll.
How about Twitter or Twitch or anything like that? Where can people find you?
Twitter, it's at DrunkyMunkin, and I'll type it in chat here.
Drunky Munkin?
Yeah, that was the previous name of the brewery by which my brother and I were homebrewing. And
cool.
We have a different name now, a brewery called Liberation, but I stuck with Drunky Munkin because started using that on some games, and now that's what people know me with.
Exactly. Once you pick a good moniker, you stick with it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks. Tobran, tell us about your YouTube channel and all the other stuff. Right now you're playing with Locke.
Yes, I'm playing with Locke.
That's why he couldn't be here today, actually. He's off getting surgery today because he broke 3 fingers.
That happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, so currently doing a series of Locke 6 time. We're playing the original EverQuest, which is quite interesting. So you should go check that out. On
Project 1999. It's not technically the original EverQuest. It is, but
it is.
It's
but
sort
it's
of an
not,
illegal version, even though we have Pentapod in the audience.
It's a version of it. It's close enough.
Please forgive us, Pentapod, for playing an illegal version of the Sony game.
It's not the best thing to do.
Especially with all the Sony people always watching this.
Yeah, it's not always the greatest thing to mention.
Yes. But anyway, so you're doing that, and what's your channel?
It's Tobran Irnwood. I do lots of EverQuest Next content. Obviously, EverQuest 2. Hopefully, I'm going to try and reboot that series.
You got to fix your commercial. You have to fix your commercial.
I do. It's really old.
It says, thanks for coming to my channel. All I do is cover Guild Wars 2.
Guild Wars 2. I'm like, crap. Need to fix that. I'll try to do that this weekend, hopefully. And I have a weekly show, EQN Talk, where I just round up all the news rather than this big 1 hour long show. Just a mess of like 6 minutes. And it's fun.
Perfect.
You should watch it.
I do. I watch it. So everyone out there watch Tobran. Check out Tobran Irnwood. Like he's earned the wood that he's... but I'm
spent all that time chopping.
Yes, he earned it. He's earned that wood. No, I'm telling people who might be watching this on YouTube later on. And then Mr. Trendane, tell us about your stuff.
No. Oh,
please.
Well, yeah, I guess I should. Well, Cyril is asking about the computer.
Should we talk about that real quick before we do that? Well, it's a perfect time to mention it.
I guess, yeah.
All right. So Trendane, he is running a LTR 8800.
Oh, here we go.
And he built it in his garage with Steve Wozniak. And that's the computer he's using right now. So, it cannot play EverQuest Next, nor can it play Star Citizen or the other games. So, without Trendane's permission, we started a fundraiser for Trendane to help him get a computer good enough to do this. So, if you'd like to donate, do I have it on here? Hold on, let me just change this.
bit.ly/Trendane. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
I like how you memorized it.
It's not that hard.
Well, that's why I made it easy like that, so we could do that. If you go to there, it's a Fundly, not Trendane. There it is. bit.ly/Trendane. It's a Fundly thing, and if you guys could throw a couple bucks at him, this would be great, so he can get himself a new pooter.
Where did you put it? Oh, right there.
Yeah. We did hit the target, Diggs. So now what we're looking to do is so Trendane can actually get enough money to get the Trailblazer pack. Yes, exactly.
There's more to it than that also, and it's the part that you keep neglecting to mention, is the fact that, well, you did mention the administrative fees, because it does cost money to use the site to do a fundraiser.
Right, they're not giving it to us for free.
Merchant, Geekdomo here is the one who gets hit with those bills, so I want to make sure that we get enough money into things so that when they're like, oh, okay, here's your money minus the portion that we're going to take for having this site up so that you can run the thing. Then the other part that he neglected to mention is that as the merchant, he's the one that gets nailed with the taxes for whatever we bring in for this thing. So I also want to make sure there's enough that he can cover the taxes for doing this very benefactorly kind of thing.
It's the love we have for our friend Trendane. Can you feel the love tonight?
Wait, we're isn't this prostitution then?
Yes, we're whoring out Trendane. Yes, we are paying money for love. So, and matter of fact, if you guys want, if you donate more than $10, Trendane will record a voicemail message for you. So every time your phone rings, it'll say something in a funny voice.
That is true. Yeah.
Trendane.com.
God damn it!
What'd you do the com for? It's just
I don't know. I just copy and pasted from the other guy.
No,
I had it broken.
It's bit. Right. .ly/Trendane. There's no .com. And you can get a picture of Trendane in a furry outfit. Not his, somebody's furry outfit.
I don't have one, so,
But,
somebody's.
But Trendane's a furry, so we'll find a picture of him in a furry outfit.
There's like 7 of them right there.
See? Could you put a head on?
Hang on.
All right, so Trendane's going to go get the head. And while he's doing that...
This will be interesting.
I'm Geekdomo. You can follow me on Twitter @Geekdomo. If you guys want to make sure you're always up to date on when I'm doing a new show for this and also have requests next, make sure you follow my Twitter. I Twitter a lot. If that bothers you, you don't have to follow me. I can understand. So, yeah. And also, my YouTube channel is just Geekdomo. Anywhere you type in Geekdomo, it's pretty much it. I have geekdomo.com. That's my website. So here we go. Trendane is coming back as a what? What is that, Trendane?
A serial murderer.
I can't see the nose or anything. It's so dark. Yeah, put the head... Yes. It's so dark against the black background. Now we actually need you to take that thing. Oh, here we go.
It's like there are holes in that thing, right? You can actually breathe when that's on, right?
Can you hear it? Okay. Could you breathe in there?
Hear you.
No.
Not well.
It was so dark, Trendane, you couldn't see it because it was sort of like... Yeah, there we go. What is it? It's just a...
He's kind of a negative snow leopard, I think.
Oh, I see.
I can't remember his name because he's not actually mine.
Husky.
Because, like I said, I don't have... No, he's not a husky.
This is the husky. Jeez.
Yeah, that's a husky right there.
Leopold.
That may actually be pretty close. I seem to recall it being some kind of an artist name kind of thing.
Very nice. Very cool. All right, everybody. So, yep. Follow Trendane, follow me, follow Legendary Neurotoxin, follow Tobran if you want updates. And I apologize. Everyone's saying don't follow Geekdomo because it's all spam. It's not. I just put out a lot of news and geeky stuff. Just the way it is. And all this video will be available on all of our channels if we have YouTube channels. If you don't have YouTube channel, they won't have it on your channel. And we'll...
What?
Yeah, exactly. Just like that. All right, thanks a lot for watching, everybody. We will see you all very, very soon. Until next week, see ya.
Be careless.
See you later, folks.